focus பண்ணுங்க. ஓகே ஓகே அங்கே ஃபோக்கஸ் ஆச்சா? ஃபோக்கஸ் ஆச்சா? Hari Om. We are starting here now. Let's start with a prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanora Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva. We are doing the Bhagavad Gita, Panchadashi-Ch, 9th chapter, and we are at the sloka 77. Aptopadesam Visvasya. Now we did 76, I guess. Tavat Krutakrutyaha Sanni Nityatra Truptimupagataha Sanni Nityatra Truptimupagataha Jivan Muktim Anuprapya Prarabdakshaya Michate. So Vidyaranya is trying to differentiate what is the upasana versus vichara. Vichara is required. That is what is important. In case you cannot do vichara, only the upasana is being prescribed. So what is the difference? One is the vichara and the knowledge that comes. Vichara is the Purusha Tantra. I had to do it. That means the agency is there. At the same time, the phalam doesn't depend upon the vichara. It is the phala vyapti is not there, and the knowledge will sink in, and that is the Vastu Tantram. This is true for any knowledge. I can prepare my mind, I can sit and open my book and read, keep reading or studying, but my mind has to be focused in such a way that the knowledge will come down. That's not, I cannot will the knowledge. Whereas the action can be willed, and that he's going to talk later. But in the process of inquiring about who am I, and what is that world, and what's my relation to the world. So Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaivana Paraha. I am that Brahman, Aham Brahmaivana Paraha. That understanding will sink in only after complete vichara, inquiring. At every moment when I am transacting is indicating that there is a problem if there is a raga dveshas coming in. So I have to turn my mind in the direction and inquire what is this world, who am I, and what's the nature of the world. And in that tavat krutakrutyaha, I recognize the knowledge comes in, and I recognize I am Brahmasmi by vichara, and my life is fulfilled because if I abide in that knowledge, that I know I am in spite of whatever the perturbations are. So FIR reduction, that means the frequency of perturbation, the intensity of perturbation, and the recovery time for perturbation goes down as I keep doing a vichara more and more and more until I firmly abide in that knowledge. So then I have become a krutakrutyaha. Tavata, by the dawn of the knowledge, by that krutakrutyaha, I have fulfilled my very purpose of life itself. Not only this life, the whole life cycle itself is fulfilled. That means I will not be any more born again because there is no karma left. So Nitya Truptihim. So I am eternally Trupti, contented, as in the 7th chapter where it talks about Trupti or contentment of a Jivan Mukta. That means I do not have any more desire. I am full by myself. My nature itself is Ananda, so I don't have to go after for objects or anything or people depend for my Ananda. So Upagataha, having attained Jivan Muktim Anuprapya, having gained the liberation by living itself, here Ihaiva, now and here. Now is the time beyond the concept of time, and here is the spatially beyond, and Prarabdha Kshayam Ichate. And what I do afterwards? I wait until the body drops, because of it's sustained by Prarabdha, it drops out. And we already analyzed the types of Prarabdha, that is my own actions, and also the karma of other people also keep my body, because they depend on me, I let them depend on me. Therefore, this is true for the not only the family, but even the people who are seeking knowledge want to keep this body, mind, intellect, so that it will continue until it drops out. Now we are talking about what is it? Upasana. How does it differ? 77. Aptopadesam Vishwasya Vishwasya Shraddhalu Ravicarayan Chintayet Pratyayiranyaihi Anantariti Vrittibihi. Together. Aptopadesam Vishwasya Shraddhalu Ravicarayan Chintayet Pratyayiranyaihi Anantariti Vrittibihi. So Shraddhalu is one who has Shraddha. So one who has the Shraddha means that Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhyavadarana Sa Shraddha. So at least I have faith in what the teacher says. You do this upasana. So therefore, Aptopadesham, Upadesham of Apta. Apta person is the one who have a reverential attitude, and I know what he says is true. And that's what is the teacher here. Aptopadesham Vishwasya, having a faith. That's called Shraddha. Chintayed. So one should contemplate on the upasana, the guna upasana. Avicharayan, without getting any other inquiry, say, what does this mean? What should I do? All those questions are pushed aside without inquiring into the validity and validity, because of the faith in the teacher. I don't question, is it Vishnu? Vishnu, does it look like that? Or all those questions are not there when I am doing upasana on the Vishnu Vigraham. So therefore, in the same way, upasana of Nirguna Brahma also, where I don't question anymore because of the faith in the teacher's words. So avicharayan, no more inquiring about ifs and buts and all that, or arguments. Anyaihi prachayahi, and without any other prachayas, anyaihi, without any other thoughts other than aham brahmasmi. So here is any japa also requires, I am invoking the name of the Lord, and my mind wants to continuously think from one thought to other thought. So how do I prevent it? Take the name of the Lord, so that I won't think of somebody else. But even the name of the Lord, I repeat the same one. That's called japa. And when I repeat the same thing, I am discarding all other dissimilar thoughts and have only one thought about the Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Sri Ganapataye Namaha. Like any other mantra of Ishtadevata is chanted, my mind is focused in that and only around that. And field is provided about Narayana and the glory of Narayana. I can dwell on it without my mind thinking about some other person who owes me something or some other worldly activities. That's called any other pratyaya, any other thoughts other than on the focus here. Anyaihi pratyayahi. So all the other thoughts essentially removing. Anantariti vrittibihi. Anantam is end. Anantam, endless vritti, constant thought about the aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, even while transacting in the world also. That's what is has to be done. when I was doing in the Hare Krishna movement, they give one big bag where they have the tulasi, the malas are there, quite thick one, so it's heavy, and they hang it and they keep on chanting Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Om Nam. And while chanting also while transacting and keep on chanting, that they carry all the time. That's what has to be done, but not about Krishna here, about Krishna is Sagunopasana, where this is the Nirgunopasana, where Aham Brahmasmi, and associated the meaning of Aham Brahmasmi, if you can bring it, then that becomes the same vritti. No other thought other than that. So Anantariti vritti bihi. So it is Anantam. So endless, continuously doing that, the upasana, it becomes a upasana. 78. Yavatchincha swarupatva, yavatchincha swarupatva, abhimana swasya jayate, abhimana swasya jayate, tavat vichincha paschascha, tavat vichincha paschascha, tathaiva mrutidharayam, tathaiva mrutidarayet. Together. Yavatchincha swarupatva, abhimana swasya jayate, tavat vichincha paschascha, tadaiva mrutidharayet. So yavat, so the yavat, so long as long as swasya, of your own oneself, chincha swaswarupasya, so constantly contemplating on your own swaswarupam. Swaswarupam means your own nature. What is my nature? Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahma means I am that Brahman. What is the nature of Brahman? It is Satchidananda Swarupam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So I am constantly reveling in that thought, with the mind reveling on that thought. And I am that Brahman. I am infinite, not this finite body, mind, intellect. And I am infinite and of the nature of not any this, and of the nature of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, or Satchidananda Swarupam, which is Akhandam, Anandam, and Astulam. All that is being invoked in the Aham Brahmasmi. So, Yavat Chincha Swarupaha, that is my Swarupam, Swaswarupasya. Abhimanaha, the Abhiman, identification with that, leaving the identification with this local body, mind, intellect. Because this is an object and I am is subject. I am, the totality is different from I am, the locality of invoking I am this body, mind, intellect, which is the Deshakala Vastu Parichinnam, limited by space-wise, time-wise, and object-wise. And that I give up and go into the real understanding of my nature based on Vedanta, the knowledge gained through Vedanta Sravanam. So, if you the Abhimanaha, the identification with the Aham Brahmasmi Jayate, it is born, leaving the Abhimana that I am a ego. Ego is I am, this is a ego. So definition of ego is I am equal to this. I am a subject and this is an object. So all my biodata is I am this, pointing out from a physical or the mental or the intellectual capabilities belong to this, but I am a subject with conscious entity, and that is all. This is unconscious entity, and I am, this is the very ego itself. So vichincha, so the constant thinking about it, then the knowledge arises also. So about my own nature, then the abhimanam, my love for myself in that abhimanam is identification with that totality comes slowly. Tavat, until then, until this comes, vichincha, have to meditate, paschat, thereafter, so tatha eva, say, avrutim dharayed. So, tatha eva amruti dharayed. So, it's one should keep on meditating until yavar, until the body drops out, or until the knowledge sinks in that I am. That is, I go to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where I recognize that Aham Brahmasmi, Vritti itself is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, not without any thoughts. A thought about Aham Brahmasmi is the knowledge itself becomes a Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Until then, I have to keep doing. Either the death has to occur or the knowledge has to come in. In either way, I lose the abhimanam for the body, mind, intellect as a local body, mind, intellect. So how is this abhimana about my own pure self? How does it? This is being discussed in the Chandogya Upanishad in the 4th chapter, 3rd section, the mantras 1 to 8 it says, and that is 79th mantra, sloka will read. And here is an example how one should do. Brahmachari bhikshamanaha, brahmachari bhikshamanaha, yatuhu samvarga vidyaya, yatuhu samvarga vidyaya, samvarga rupatam chitte, samvarga rupatam chitte, dharayitwahya bhikshata, dharayitwahya bhikshata. So together, brahmachari bhikshamanaha, yatuhu samvarga vidyaya, samvarga rupadam chitte, dharayitva yabhikshata. So samsarga vidyaya. So while contemplating on this, here we are talking about the pranaha, on the prana, the essential, the breathing itself. So he is constantly contemplating on the prana. This is from the prana upasana. Yataha the brahmachari, yataha brahmachari, so bhikshamanaha. So yataha brahmachari, the brahmachari has been doing the upasana on the prana, and this is coming from the example is being illustrated in the 4th chapter of the Chandogya under 3rd section, between slokas 1 to 8 of mantras 1 to 8 of the Chandogya, where an example of a brahmachari who is doing a upasana on the prana, and while going bhikshamanam, while going for bhiksha, samvarga rupatam, identification with the prana continues, chitte in the mind, dharayitva, keeping alive, he abhikshata, he is doing the bhikshatanam for going all. So he is continuing his upasana on the prana while performing the activities, and in this case brahmachari activity here is to go for bhiksha to get alms. So while going for bhiksha to get alms, his mind is still constantly contemplating on the prana. So what does he do in the house, in front of the house? He say bhavati bhikshan dehi. So at that time he may have to do, but once it's back, again he goes back to his constant, the prana upasana. So that's what we have to understand here. While doing prana upasana, brahmachari used to go for alms and keep upasana continuing. So what is that example for? In the same way, Aham Brahmasmi is upasana that I have to continue while doing all my activities when I am forced to do my activities, because as long as the body, mind, intellect is there, I cannot but act. Nahikasit chanavapi jatu tushtasya karma krita. Not even a single moment I can remain without acting. So I had to act. But action is while acting, the body, mind, intellect, the mind can keep shifting into the attention that Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. So in olden days, my parents and grandparents and all that, they will be doing all the household activities, at the same time chanting that either Vishnu Sahasranama or some other slokas they will be chanting, will be going on while activities going on. So the mind is, so that the mind is continuously dwelling on that. That's also upasana. Here the upasana is the Aham Brahmasmi, and that upasana can continue just as the brahmachari was continuing prana upasana even while going on a bhiksha. So same thought is continuing in the next sloka. Purusha svechaya kartum, Purusha svechaya kartum, akartum kartam anyata, akartum kartam anyata. Sakhyopastirato nityam. Sakhyopastirato nityam. Kurvat prachaya samtatim. Kurvat prachaya samtatim. Together. Purushasya ichchaya kartum. Akartum kartum anyatha. Sakhyopastirato nityam. Kurvat prachaya samtatim. So Purushasya, this is a seeker. Ichchaya, by his will. Upastihi, he can do upasana. So what's the difference between the upasana and the vichara? Here the upasana is kartrutvam, means there is a doership involved. So there is an agency of action. So the Purusha, because there is then the will involved. I want to do this Purusha, the mantra japa of Aham Brahmasmi, Nirgunopasana. So there is Ichchaya, by his will, he will do Upastihi. He is doing Upasana. So that Ichcha therefore involves Kartum, Akartum, Anyadha Kartum, Sakya. I either do it, I cannot do it, or I can do in a different way the same Upasana. All possibilities are there because I have a will to do. I have a choice to do, and therefore the choice includes not doing is also a choice, and doing in a different way is also a choice, or doing in the way that's prescribed is also a choice. So that is because of Purusha Tantram. It is not a Kartrutva Tantram or Purusha Tantram. The one who is doing as a choice to do, and therefore he can do Kartum, Akartum, Anyada Kartum, to do, not to do, another way. So therefore the Ataha Prachaya Samtatim. So therefore Prachaya Samtatim, unbroken flow of meditative thoughts, Nityam, regularly, Kuryat, one should do. So therefore here is a Nidhi Vakyam. If you want to do that Brahmo Nirgunopasana, you have to do continuously Nityam, and say Prachaya Santatim, unbroken, constant reflect of that which is unbroken means Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. Mind can do it. I don't have to chant with the mouth and all that. Mind, mentally one can do Upasana while performing the activities in the world also. How is that? I'm going to give an example here. 81. Vedadhyayi pramattaha Vedadhyayi pramattaha Adhite swapne dhivasitaha Adhite swapne dhivasitaha Japita atu japaccheva Tatha dhyatapi vasayet Tatha dhyatapi vasayet. Together. Vedadhyayi pramattaha Dhite swapne dhivasitaha Japita atu japaccheva Tatha dhyatapi vasayet. So indeed he apramattaha. Pramattaha means the one who is the sincere, faultless one, a sincere student. Vedadhyayi, the one who is Veda Adhyanam, means who is trying to memorize the Veda. So in the Brahmachari, first thing they have to do Veda Adhyanam. So they had to memorize the whole Vedas, and they are the one Veda or Dvivedis or Trivedis or Chaturvedis. That means they are able to chant all the four Vedas or Chaturvedis. Nowadays everybody is Trivedis and all that, and they don't know how many Vedas exist even. So that has become a family name because one of the ancestors could chant all the slokas, all the mantras of that Veda. If it is one Veda, we don't say anything, he is a Vedi only. So if the Dvivedi, two Vedas, Trivedi, three Vedas, and Chaturvedi is all the four Vedas. And therefore Vedadhyayi, constantly the chanting goes on every day in the morning, where they chant, they repeat the previous one and then the new one, and the next day previous one all the way until new one, until it has become so routine that any moment it can the Vedadhyanam can be done. And here it says example, Vedadhyayi apramattaha Adhite swapne adhivasitaha. So adhivasitaha, due to strong impressions in the subconscious level, we don't call it unconscious. Due to song, because of the repeating again and again and again, mind, this thing goes down into at the subconscious level. And Veda Adhyayi Japita is engaged in japa. Due to impressions, swapne, even in the dream, adite, chanting goes on in the dream also. So in the same way, Veda Japati Tata Eva. So in the same way, Jata Vasayet. So in the same way, one has to constantly do this Aham Brahmasmi Nirguno Brahma Pasana constantly until it sinks into the unconscious mind. And that's what, just as the Vedadhyayi Brahmachari happens to it. So that's how the Nirguno Brahma Pasana has been described here. So what do I gain by that is being discussed in 82. Virodhi prachayam tyaktva nairantaryena bhavayan labate vasana veshad swapnadaviva bhavanam together. Virodhi prachayam tyaktva nirantaryena bhavayan labante vasana veshad swapnadavapi bhavanam. So virodhi prachayam, the virodhi, the contradictory, prachayam, thoughts. So any other thoughts other than the tyaktva, giving up. Nairantaryena, which is continuously this bhavayan, this meditating on Aham Brahmasmi Nirguna Brahma, vasana aveshat. So by virtue of the deep impression that goes into the subconscious level, swapne ado, even in the dream also, api bhavana, meditation labate, it happens. Just as for the Vedadhyayi, where he's chanting so much that even in the dream also he starts chanting. In the same way, I am meditating on myself, Aham Brahmasmi continuously, that I keep doing that even in the dream also, because it sinks into the subconscious level, which opens up during the dream state. So that's what you see, the litmus test, that it has become a part of my subconscious entity. This thought is discussed further. What's the time now? Oh, you have not talked. Bhunjo nopi nijarabdham astati sayato nisham atisayo nisham jhatum sekno na sandeha Vishayavyasani yatha together. Bunjo nopi nijarabdham astati sayato nisham jatum sekno na sandeha vishayavyasani yatha. So Nija Arabdham is Prarabdham. So one's Prarabdham, the fruits of one's own Prarabdha activities, Bhunjanam, while experiencing api, Atha Adisayataha, due to deep impression of this knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, Anisham, continuously Dhatum Seknum, one can practice, because even when performing activities involved due to Prarabdha. So here he is separating the karmas, of which the prarabdha karma propels you to do certain things, but there the desire prompted icha, that you are not have to do it. Only those you have to do, which are obligatory duties because of the prarabdha, while performing it, you can keep chanting also. There is no problem there. So due to deep impression, the knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi Anisham, continuously, Dhatum Shaktum, is possible to do it. And Sandehana, don't doubt about it. Yada Vishaya Vyasani, just as I am enjoying the the thinking of something and I am enjoying while performing an action. So if I know Laddu, I may be thinking of Laddu while performing something else. My mind is somewhere else, but activity is going on, what need to be performed. This is true when you are doing cycling. Initially, when you don't know how to cycle, you are paying attention, mind, and every time the balance is keep going, because the mind activity is still you are slowly getting it until it becomes so mechanical. That means automatically the pedaling, balancing, everything going on, and people will be talking and laughing and joking, everything. At the same time, the cycling will go on and the balancing will go on unconsciously at that level. Same way, unconsciously, the mind can keep on dwelling in while the mind is involved in the activities that are coming due to prarabdha. That's what it says. So this constant thinking of it while performing something else can go on, and he gives another example here, which is a little bit funny, but anyway, Swami, Vidyaranya Swami, knows all things, I guess, but he was a Shankaracharya. So let's read this, 84. Paravyasanini nari, paravyasanini nari, vyagrapi gruha karmani, vyagrapi gruha karmani, tadeva swadayatyantaha, tadeva swadayatyantaha, parasangarasayanam, parasangarasayanam, together, paravyasanini nari, vyagrapi gruha karmani, tatha vaswadayatyantaha parasangarasayanam. So paravyasanini nari, a nari woman, paravyasanini, one who is enjoying the sense pleasures with another person other than the husband. So para here is other than the husband. So woman in love with other than her husband. Gruha karmani, while performing the activities in the house. Vyagraha aha, although is engaged in the activities, in action while mind is away. So but mind is thinking of her love for the other person. So while performing the activities of the gruham, because her mind is involved in the other person's affair, and she has an affair with another person, that enjoyment or that association mentally, emotionally, she will be dwelling on that, even though she is performing her own house activities. So she will be doing housework as a housewife, at the same time wife of somebody else. That's what it is. So her mind is constantly dwelling in the same way. I am performing all that, but I am devoted to something other than what this is that is involved. Therefore, it is like as though I am having an affair with the Aham Brahmastra, with the Brahman. That's what is the example here. This example continues for 2 more slokas. 85. Parasangam swadayam tya, parasangam swadayam tya, apino gruha karmatat, apino gruha karmatat, kunti bhavedapi apetu, kunti bhavedapitu, apadapata naiva vartate, apadapate naiva vartate. Apadapate naiva vartate. So together, parasangam swadayantya, apino gruha karmatat, kunti apitve is it? Kunti sandhi, that is sandhi. Kunti bhavedapitu, apadete naiva vartate, sorry, apadete naiva vartate. So parasangam, say enjoyment of or the company of the other man other than her own husband. So parasangam, swadayatya, so experiencing mentally the association she is doing here, but mind is with her lover, and because of the emotional attachment to the other person, the mind runs there. So, Tad Gruha Karma, the household of her own house. So, her own house means the other fellow is somewhere else. So, her own house, her own husband, her own children, she may be involved in the activities, but the mind is with the other person. Tad Gruha Karma, no Kunti Bhaved. So, she does not ignore. So, no, does not Kunti Bhaved. She does not ignore her own housework. So, she will be doing her housework. At the same time, her mind is involved in the parasangam, in the pleasures of the union with another person. In the same way, a Brahmopasana has to be done where I am involved in activities that need to be done, or the Gruha Karma. Gruha Karma is Graha Karma or Gruha Karma. Graha is my Graham. So by destiny, whatever the prarabdha karma brings him, you go through the process. But at the same time, mind is somewhere else, and that is called parasangam. Here para is nothing but Brahman. Difference between is Brahman is everywhere, but as husband, the lover is somewhere else. So Kunti Bhaved. So it does not stop. Api tam, however, apatena, more mechanically, without thinking of, full of joy and in the activities, eva vartate. He performs without any joy in it, because mind is somewhere else. Aham Brahmasmi. He is going through routinely the activities of the things that are brought up by the prarabdha karma, whereas the mind is evolving Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, while eating, doing everything that is need to be done because of the prarabdha karma to maintain family, maintain the body, mind, intellect, etc., etc. So, but he is not enjoying that, and therefore there is no mechanical, only actions are done at mechanical. And how does that differ from the Jivan Mukta? He enjoys, and that's what example he is going to give in the next sloka, 86. Gruha Krutya Vyasanini, Gruha Krutya Vyasanini, Yadha Samyak Karoti Tat, Yadha Samyak Karoti Tat, Paravyasanini Tadvanna, Paravyasanini Tadvanna, Karocheva Sarvata, Karocheva Sarvata, Nakarocheva Sarvata, Tadvatu Nakarocheva Sarvata, together. Gruha Krutya Vyasanini, Yadha Samyak Karoti Tat, Paravyasanini Tadvatu Nakarocheva Sarvada. So here the contrast between the house lady who is dedicated to her husband and her children, and therefore also doing the same thing, same activities of the house, but she enjoys that. Whereas the other one, where her mind is some other place, where her mind is involved in the other than the current work, and therefore she thinks this is only extraordinary, that dissipate her energies. So therefore she thinks this is different, Aham Brahmasmi something, and therefore enjoying the parasangam, reveling in that, or constant meditation on that, but not, therefore the mind is not enjoying even though it's doing mechanically. That's what is pointed out here. Gruha Krutya Vyasanini. So Yatha Gruha Krutya Vyasanini. So woman dedicated to her own husband and her own family, household work, that duty Samyak Karoti. She also performs all the activities that need to be done, but with perfect joy. So she enjoys doing as since she has identification with the whole thing as I am. Just as in the example where the lover, the beloved wife, she is expecting her son, her husband coming, and even though she is cooking and all that, she is thinking of her husband and cooking, and while cooking she wants to make sure that her husband comes, because she is missing him, he has gone somewhere and now coming back after a long time. So reveling on her own husband and thinking on doing performance, and for the sake of to please him only she is doing it. Therefore she enjoys cooking and cleaning the house, everything, because husband is coming, her lover is coming. So she enjoys the work while mind is still reveling in that. Whereas the other one, where she's not enjoying the work, because this is a different house and her lover is somewhere else and he has nothing to do with this, therefore her mind is somewhere, but she is only doing mechanically. That's what here. Paravyasini. So the sarvada na eva karoti. She is not doing with that joy all the activities that is not being not performed with the same joy and perfection. Whereas the one who is dedicated to her own family performs every action to the best, because she wants to make sure her family, husband, everybody enjoys the best out of it. 87. Evam jhanaika nishtopi evam jhanaika nishtopi lesha laukika marg lesha maukika marachit. Okay. Lesha laukika marabdhachet leka lausika marabdhachet tattva virodhitvat laukikam samyagochare. So here together, evam jhanaika nishtopi lesha laukika mardhavet tattva virodhitva laukikam samyagochare. So evam, in this way, jhana ekanishtapi, the man who is single pointed on the meditation that aham brahmasmi, leshat, even little bit enthusiasm, laukikam, in the laukika duties, worldly duties, arabhyached, may perform the action. So the one who is doing upasana compared to one who is the Jivan Mukta, what is the difference between the two? Is exemplified. He is thinking, mind is only chanting on the mechanically on that one, and performing here also mechanically in terms of activities in the world. Since the activities are opposite to dhyanam, therefore he ignores or he doesn't enjoy it, but he has to do it. Therefore he is mechanically doing it, because he do it because of the prarabdha karma. At the same time, his mind is somewhere else. That is what a upasaka mind is, whereas the Jivan Mukta mind is different. It says tattvavitva, the one who is understood and recognized that aham brahmasmi, I am everything. Then how does he act? He enjoys everything because everything is himself only. That's why virodhitva, tattvavitva, avirodhitva, because there is no contradiction between what he is doing versus what his understanding is, because this is only Leela Vibhuti. It becomes a Vibhuti. Everything becomes enjoyable because he is dealing with himself only. So it becomes a Atma Krida. Atma Krida means playing with himself. It's a play is always fun. And Atmarati will sing in completion, he is reveling in himself or he is playing with himself. So he enjoys both, and it's not anymore mechanical. So every action of a Jivan Mukta comes to perfection. That's why it says the yoga karmasu kaushalam. The yogis, the dexterity in the action comes out beautifully because he enjoys that also as a part of his own vibhuti. He says, this is my glory only. Therefore he can enjoy it. Avirodhitvad, because it's not different from me. And therefore knowledge samyak acharati, he performs all the activities perfectly. This is one of the mark of a Jivan Mukta. Whatever he does it to the beautifully, to the big degree that perfection that his body minded is capable of, and is capable of whatever because of the training and all that. So that much he will do whatever that can, and he's happy that I have done my part, my best. Other things, if the body is not capable, that is not his problem. If the intellect is not capable, it's not his problem. But whatever he does, it becomes a beauty. It becomes he does with perfection to the degree that he can. Therefore, it becomes a glory, vibhuti of the Lord. I can tell a lot of things about my association with Swami Chinmayanandji, where I was observing every activity that he was doing, and it was always perfection. Even the way he opens the envelope, even the way he closes the envelope, you can see the beauty there. That's what is yoga karmasu kausalam. Dexterity in the action follows because of that. So let's see what time it is. Still have some more time. 88. Maya maya prapanchoyam. Maya maya prapanchoyam. Atma chaitanya rupadruk. Atma chaitanya rupadruk. Idi bodho virodaha kaha. Idi bodho virodaha kaha. Laukika vyavaharinaha. Laukika vyavaharinaha. So together, Maya Maya Prapanchoyam Atma Chaitanya Rupadaku Iti Bodho Virodaha Kaha Laukika Vyavaharinaha. So he is now involving how can Jivan Mukta says engage in the actions like that, enjoying at the same time. He is reveling Aham Brahmasmi. When I am reveling Aham Brahmasmi, Brahman cannot do it. So I am Brahman, therefore I cannot do it at any action. But at the same time you are saying he is enjoying all the actions also. So how is it possible? He is in this sloka, and from many other slokas is going to tell how Jivan Mukta's attitude in the action and how is it different from an Upasaka. So I am Prapanchaha Maya Mayam Mayaha. So he understood that there is no reality to this plurality. So this I am prapanchaha. So this whole prapancha, that which is the fivefold, pancha is fivefold, prakarshena, that which is specially formed, that means starting from 5 subtle elements, and by grossification 5 gross elements, and the whole world of subtle world and the gross world has been created, and this is I am prapanchaha, this whole universe. Maya Mayaha, nothing but pervaded by the Maya, and also it is coming from the Maya. Maya means Ya Ma Sa Maya, that which is not really there but appears to be there. So appearance is what is Maya. It's not something difficult to understand. If I look at the ring and the bangle, that's a Maya. Why? Because there is no really ring and there is no bangle. At the same time we are seeing the ring and the bangle. So what do you mean there is no ring and a bangle? I see ring and I see you bangle. Ring is different, bangle is different, ring utility is different, the bangle utility is different, perceptibility, utility, transactability, all abilities are there, but only thing ability is no stability. So what is there? It is only gold only in the form of a ring now, in the form of a bangle. So form can change but gold doesn't change. That is nityam and anityam. That is viveka has to be required. Once I understood everything is nothing but gold, then I enjoy the ring, gold in the form of a ring, gold in the form of a bangle, because my vision is it's gold. That's why I keep it safely in the almara or biro or somewhere, lock it up, because it's precious for me, whereas if it is iron or something else, I won't care. So because it is made of gold, because everything is nothing but Brahman, and I have understood that really, so every object, every perception of object is nothing but perception of the Brahman only, even though Brahman is imperceptible. What one has to be careful. So Jivan Mukta looks everything as the expression of the Brahman, and therefore Pratibodha Viditam Matam. It is recognized in every experience, because every experience is the experience of Brahman only. So I want to experience Brahman. How are you going to experience the Brahman? You can't experience Brahman as infinite, because this infinite cannot be experienced. So what experience Brahman is, any experience is nothing but Brahman. That knowledge has to sink in. So essentially, Maya Mayaha Prapanchaham Maya Mayaha Atma Chaitanya Rupadraku. It is of the nature of pure consciousness only, expressing in varieties of names of forms. Iti Bodho, having learned that, having realized, Laukika Vyavaharinaha, the one who is transacting in the world as a Jivan Mukta, then engage in the world, Kaha Virodha, what is the contradiction there? It's a rhetorical question here. So the Vijayaranya says, what's the controversy, what's the big deal? He has already realized that Aham Brahmasmi. That means I am infinite. And I am infinite means there cannot be any separation. So if the world is there, it cannot be separate from me. And in fact, this scripture has learned that from the scripture I have learned that it came from the word, from the Atma, it is sustained by the Atma and goes back into the Atma. So it is sustained means it is a material cause. So gold is sustained, ring is sustained by gold. That means it's a material cause. So same way the world is sustained from Brahman, and because world is Jayate Gacchate, keeps on changing. But if something is changing, there has to be Adhara, Adhishtanam, which is changeless. And that's a law of conservation. In the equation A plus B is equal to C plus D, so things are A plus B changing into C plus D. But there has to be changeless entity for the equation to be valid. What is the equation to be valid? What is a changeless entity? That's what you call balancing equation. And balancing amount of here is same as amount of there. Balancing in terms of number of hydrogen atoms is same as number of hydrogen atoms, number of carbon atoms is carbon atom. So I am doing atom by atom, but the net is because the mass is conserved. And same way, there has to be something that has to be conserved in the changing things. And therefore, Maya Mayaha Prapanchaha Ayam Atma Chaitanya Rupaduk, having realized that it is my own nature, iti bodho virodaha, it has been learned that, therefore, Laukika Vyavaharanaha, in the transactional world, Kaha Virodaha, what is the contradiction there? So a Jivan Mukta can transact in the world like anybody else, and for me I won't know that whether he is a Jivan Mukta or not, because transacting just like me. So someone went to, says Mahatma, says, how come people are prostrating? You are also doing the same thing and I am also doing, I've been observing you. You also get up in the morning, I also get up in the morning. And you eat breakfast, I am also eating breakfast. Then after some time you eat lunch and I am also eating lunch. And you eat dinner and you sleep and I also sleep. What's the big deal? And you are doing it and I am also doing it. How come people don't prostrate to me? People praise you and prostrate to you and all that. A question being asked to Mahatma. Mahatma answered, that is true, both are doing the same thing. Only problem is I am doing what I am and you are not doing what you are supposed to do. So what is that? So when I am eating, I am eating. When I am sleeping, I am sleeping. When I am doing any sadhana, I am doing that. I am also doing. No, you are not. Why? Because your mind is not where you are. Your mind is thinking of the past or in the future or excitement in the present, but not in the action that are you really deeply involved, because the ego coming, ahankara is coming, that I am a doer. When I am a doer, I am not doing. At that time, agency, owning that one is called I am, that ego is coming, whereas I have no ego in that sense, that the Prakriti itself is doing it. I have understood, therefore, that is the difference between a Jivan Mukta and another Jiva who has not realized yet. And that's what being discussed in the 88 about the nature of the reality. So we'll stop here, it's 89, and continue perhaps in tomorrow. So we stop at 88. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.